This is Patrick. So at first, as a demon, my intent was to hunt down the 7 men, life after life after life, within the experience of themselves in this world, search them out, destroy their lives, to have them experience what they had done unto me, and then kill them. When the madness ensued within and as me, within the interdimensional existence as a demon, I ended up hunting down men who had the exact same or similar signature to the 7 men who had killed my wife and my child in front of my eyes and caused me an infinite existence of anger, fury, hatred, pain, sorrow, and sadness. Being within the interdimensional existence for hundreds and hundreds of years as a demon, I then experienced me having to be able to continue my existence, which was feeding off of human beings within this world. And because my entire being had become that of anger, fury, hatred, and pain, sorrow, sadness, fury, I fed off men who existed and consisted of what I was. And so I would integrate myself into men specifically who consisted of and existed within what I was as anger in particular. Anger specifically. It had a red, orange and deep dark blue signature. Because what happens when you are filled with anger inside yourself, your atom splits into 2 sections, and within the split, in that rip in the center, you take a circular structure and you split it inside itself. There's a point where the 2 cross. In that center point there, in that small point is the access to the entire being within and as them, where you would be able to enter, and then in entering through that point there where the atom split, there you have access into and as the entirety of the being, and you're actually able to walk in and completely possess the being without them even being aware of it. And that's how I had access into men in particular who had become or existed within and as anger within themselves, because in that split of the atom, that access point there would literally be a flame, a little flame, and that little flame was red and orange with a deep blue strip within it. And that's how I knew, alright, I have access there. I would access the being inside that small point where the atom split and the fire of anger manifested as a signature of the being, which I was able to access to be able to feed off, because I needed anger, fury, rage and hatred to continue my existence. So I would enter the being through that singular one point there, only that one singular point. I would pull myself through and I would have access to the entirety of the being. And the being would usually take a breath like that, and in that breath I would integrate, out breath I would manifest myself. In entering at such a point there, you would not be able to get out of the being until the being has died. That's why few demons actually possessed as I possessed. They usually only possessed at the mind of the being, which would give you entry in and out in a moment. I integrated myself in that split, manifested myself as the being. Breathe in, the out breath I would manifest. Now the being would still maintain their normalcy of self, meaning they wouldn't even notice I was there in any way whatsoever. And I would exist within and as them and feed off of their anger within and as themselves through the remainder of their life experience. But what I would do is, for instance, I would initiate more anger within the being by directing their worlds for them without them even realizing or noticing it. For instance, there was this one man once who lived in a park. He had no home. He was filled with anger. I noticed him. I entered into the split, manifested myself. I would be able to walk in them, as them, direct them, move them, thinking that it's them that's doing it, but actually it was me. And I would be able to drive them to a point of where I would compound this anger within themselves, this emotion within them. I would compound it because anger was me. So when a being consisted of and existed as anger within and as them, I would be able to take this anger and stand up in and as a being, as me, one and equal, as and with the anger. And this being would then be consumed with anger. The anger would become the madness of and within themselves, and I would be able to drive them to a point where they would be able to kill. And that's how I did it. I would manifest, integrate, possess a man without him even noticing or realizing it, and drive him to a point of killing another human being. Because in that moment of killing, in that act of killing, fury, hatred, anger builds and compounds and builds, and the entire mind consciousness system of the being just goes absolutely mad. And in that moment is the euphoria that I would experience as a demon that is possessing this man without him even knowing it. That euphoria of that act of murdering, of killing another, was ecstatic, was amazing, and was profound. And that's how I possessed a human being and could direct the human being to a point of killing another, with them thinking that it was them that was killing another, but actually it was me directing the man. And then after I'm done, I would attempt and try and exist within the body as long as possible, from the perspective of killing as many human beings as possible within this man that I'd possessed. If the law noticed or was on search for me, what I'd do is I'd kill myself as this man, and then I'd be released and move on to the next. Thank you. This is Patrick.